Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Georg Michels. I'm the Director Global Marketing for the product line VESTA at Evonik Crosslinkers Department. I'm doing that position since 2015. Before that, I have been working in various marketing and purchasing positions at Evonik, Chemtura, and BASF. So from my background, I have a commercial background, and I'm going to present to you today what Evonik has been doing to make our VESTA IPDI product more sustainable. So let's start. I hope you can see the screen all right. First of all, I would like to show you what Evonik is doing on sustainability. I've chosen 3 examples. On the left side, you can see that Evonik is participating in all investor-related rankings. There are various, and more and more investors are looking for information about sustainability, and to make their decisions more easy, these are included via various schemes and rankings. In the middle, you can see our environmental targets, and again, Evonik is a target-driven company. I've chosen only one. Evonik has committed to reduce 50% of its CO2 emissions until 2025. We have other environmental targets for water, for soil use and others. And on the right side, you can see that Evonik is actively managing its portfolio to become a more sustainability company. So last year, we already had 35% of our sales with products which we call next generation solutions. So these are products which have a positive impact on the environment and social development, and it's our target to further increase on this. I have an update here. You can see on the upper right side, update 10th of May. So this is two days ago when Evonik did their roadshow for the first quarter. And building on what I've just said is you can see that Evonik has further focused its strategy on sustainability. So for us now, it's an integral part of our purpose. We are integrating sustainability fully in our strategic management process. We are reducing our CO2 emissions by 25 versus 2030. So if you remember what I've just shown to you, we had a target of 50% reduction until 2025. And 2 days ago, we have further tightened this target to another 25% reduction until 2030. So you can find all the details on the Evonik website, on the roadshow. So I just wanted to highlight the latest news today that Evonik is further concentrating and focusing on its sustainability strategy. Crosslinkers is the inventor of the isophorone chemistry. So 60 years ago, we started our first production in our Herne site in Germany. And instead of retiring, we have decided to come up with a new product line, the VESTA eCO series. And this is part of our way to a climate neutral isophorone chain. So eCO stands for eliminate CO2. And if we go back into history, you can see on the left side in 1962, as I said, 60 years ago, we started the production of isophorone, which is the building block for our VESTA IPDI. In 1972, we made one decisive step on sustainability when launching our environmental friendly powder coatings crosslinkers. In 1992, we commissioned our first American isophorone line in Mobile in the US. So we started Europe, 30 years later, moving to the US. In 2011, we did the first cradle to gate life cycle analysis. So that is 10 years ago, we did the first analysis of our carbon footprint. In 2014, we started our third production site in China, in Shanghai, and we participated in Europe in an eco profile LCA analysis of all aliphatic isocyanates. 2015 was the date when we did the Together for Sustainability certification for our Herne production site, which is the main production site for our crosslinkers. And now in 2022, we are launching the VESTA eCO series, which means reduced CO2 emissions for our I Chain products. So I've been talking a lot so far about the I Chain. So let me briefly explain what we at Crosslinkers call the I Chain. So this is our value chain of isophorone products. So the main raw material we are sourcing is the acetone. The acetone is taken and it's converted into VESTA-Sol IP, isophorone, an important solvent and intermediate for the chemical industry. In the next step, we are producing the diamine, the Vestamine IPD, which is used as a hardener in epoxy curing. And at the right side, you can see the Vestanat IPDI, the diisocyanate, building block for polyurethane coatings and polyurethane chemistry. So Evonik is the one having the complete I chain in-house. We are sourcing acetone externally, but all other steps in the value chain are controlled by Evonik. So I already mentioned the life cycle analysis, which we did in 2011. And one of the key findings in this life cycle analysis was the importance of acetone, our externally sourced raw material, for the global warming potential, the CO2 footprint of our products. So going from left to right, you can see for the VESTA-Sol IP, the isophorone, 80% of the global warming potential is coming from acetone. And as we move further down the value chain, for IPD, Vestamine IPD, it's still 60%. And for Vestanat IPDI, it is 30% of the global warming potential. So for all our three products, it has a significant impact. And it was clear, if we want to improve the sustainability of our I Chain products, it is required that we do something on the acetone. This is the first step where we could have the biggest impact. We are currently updating our life cycle analysis with 2021 data. And as soon as we have that, we are able to give you detailed numbers for the CO2 footprint of our products. Roughly speaking, because I know you were looking for rough numbers, for the Vestanat IPDI, we are talking around 6 kg of CO2 per kg of Vestanat IPDI. So the idea is replacing virgin fossil acetone with renewable acetone. So the first thing is to understand what do we call, or how do we define renewable acetone? And the crucial thing about renewable acetone is it's all kind of acetone which is made without additional fossil carbon from the earth. So we're not saying it needs to be bio. It can be based on fossil carbon, but the crucial thing is it's not additional fossil carbon from the earth. So with this general definition, you can distinguish three principal sources of renewable acetone. The first one are the bio-based sources like corn, sugarcane, cotton. So here we are talking about plants which have been explicitly grown for the use in the chemical industry or in the fuel industry. The second big group is biocircular materials. So circular is just a different word for recycled. So here we are talking not about plants being expressively grown for this use, but we are talking about waste streams, residual streams of bio-based material. So this could be, you can see some examples here, tall oil, used cooking oils, or forest residues. The last group of potential sources of renewable acetone are circular raw materials. So in this case, the circular could be made initially with virgin fossil carbon, but this fossil carbon is being reintegrated into our production cycle. It's going to be recycled. So again, a few examples here is plastic waste, which can be reused, end-of-life tires, and on the right side, a very interesting stream, which is CO2 off gas, which can be used for making new chemical products. So we can distinguish all these three sources, biocircular, circular. They all have in common that they do not add any additional CO2 to the atmosphere. So what can we do when we replace virgin fossil, standard fossil acetone with renewable acetone? Here we have taken one example. We have replaced the petrochemical acetone with a corn-based acetone. And you can see that we can reduce the CO2 footprint of VESTA IPDI by 40%, which is significant reduction of CO2. So obviously, this is only an example. The carbon footprint of the VESTA IPDI eCO in the end depends on the source of renewable acetone which we are using. And when making this decision, what renewable acetone you're going to buy, we are not only talking about CO2 footprint, we are talking about a wide variety of sourcing criteria, which I know you're all aware of. So when we talk about bio raw materials, there's always a question about, is there conflict with food use? So in many cases, food for fuel, it's called. Do we use palm oils? If we use palm oils, what is the source of palm oil? Are these socially responsible sources and environmental responsible sources? So you see, you can ask a lot of questions, and you have to ask these questions when making your sourcing decision. But I think it's also important to note we are asking a lot of questions about the renewable feedstocks here. But at the same time, in the past at least, nobody ever has asked these questions about the petrol-based raw materials. where has the petrol been drilled? Has this been done in a social responsible way? So I think in a way it's good that these questions are asked more and more, but we should not only ask them for the renewable feedstocks, we should ask them for all feedstocks. So key message is here, there's a significant reduction of CO2 with the renewable acetone. The number of this reduction depends on the source of renewable acetone. And currently, we are in discussions with our suppliers, but also with our customers, in which way we should go to make the future sourcing decision on the renewable acetone. This is still ongoing, and we're happy to discuss that with our customers. So, in a nutshell, to show what is the CO2 reduction right now, I would like to invite you to count a little bit the carbon molecules, atoms in this molecule. So you can see the Vestasol IP eCO, and you can see that we have 9 carbon atoms in this molecule, and that we don't have any more atoms here, carbon atoms. So this is 100% renewable carbon mass balance, and I will explain the mass balance concept in a second. Similar for the IPD. So here we have added 1 carbon atom. So totally we now have 10 carbon atoms. 9 of them are being done based on renewable acetone. So we have 90% renewable carbon content mass balance. And for the IPDI, we have added another 2 carbons. So in total, we have 12. 9 of them are based on renewable acetone. So that makes 75% renewable carbon content mass balance. That's a difference for our eCO products. They have a renewable carbon content. All other product properties stay the same quality as you are used to. Last but not least, this is a journey. So we are talking here, we have replaced the carbons from the acetone. We still have, talking about IPDI, we still have 3 other carbons to replace. So VESTA eCO is a start on our way to a climate neutral I chain, and it's not the end, it's the first step, and we will continue to work on that. So I've already mentioned the mass balance approach, and I would like to briefly explain what mass balance means. It's a concept which originally was coming from chocolate. And when you produce chocolate, how do you do that? You're mixing the raw materials, the renewable acetone and the virgin fossil-based acetone. You mix that into one tank. So there's no physical segregation. But, and that's important for the mass balance approach, there is a strict segregation in bookkeeping. So within our company's enterprise resource program, we are clearly distinguishing how much acetone, renewable acetone, did we buy? How much Vestanat IPDI can be made with this amount of renewable acetone? And then we are only selling as much Vestanat IPDI eCO as we have purchased renewable acetone in the beginning. So, to repeat, product will be mixed and mingled, but strictly segregated in the enterprise resource system. So strictly segregation in bookkeeping. And in order to make that more trustworthy, this whole process is then audited by an external company. And this audit is following a certification scheme of an independent body. And currently we are working with ISCC and RedCert. These are the most well-known and established certification schemes for mass balance production. So, mass balance is the best way to offer instant CO2 reduction in existing plants. Because let me a little bit elaborate on that. If you would like to make a bio-segregated production, that would mean you have to have a own plant. It has to be cleaned. Raw materials have to be separated. You have different volumes, so you're not producing in world scale size. With a mass balance approach, you can use the existing plants, and you can use these existing plants to produce drop-in solutions, meaning there's no difference physically between the VESTA IPDI and the VESTA IPDI eCO. You get the same product qualities you are used to, but with buying VESTA IPDI eCO, you're contributing to the CO2 reduction of your product because you're contributing to the sourcing of CO2 reduced acetone. So mass balance is a way to get drop-in products at the best possible price with a significant CO2 reduction. Let me talk one word about the ISCC certificate. So why did we choose this scheme and what is so special about it? So ISCC is a German company certification scheme which originally started with biofuels. That is where it is coming from, and the European Union has set up a clear guideline what is a biofuel for the European Union, and this concept has then been opened up for the mass balance production of chemicals. And the reason why we have chosen it is the strictness in sustainability criteria. So ISCC not only talks about mass balance, it is a complete control of the value chain. And it starts at the farmer's level, if we talk about bio or biocircular raw materials. And starting from the farmer, you have to be certified along the whole value chain in order to produce a certified mass balance VESTA IPDI eCO, for example. So you can see the criteria here, and I'm going to repeat them. ISCC is implementing very strict social and ecological sustainability criteria. It is controlling the mass balance accounting. So you have to open up your books to ISCC and its auditors. You have to show how much renewable acetone you have purchased, what are the conversion factors for this, and how much end product you have been selling and how does it match. Going along the value chain, ISCC is controlling the whole value chain, so they are making sure that the supply chains are, for example, deforestation free, that you can rely that where your crops have been growing, no deforestation took place. And the same is similar is the conversion of biodiverse grasslands. This also is avoided. ISCC offers the calculation of a greenhouse gas emissions, so you can also have a certification here. And last but not least, it is ensuring the traceability of the complete supply chain. Evonik has been certified this year in March 2022. So VESTA NAD is now a certified product, and VESTA eCO products can be purchased according to ISCC plus certification. We are still working on the Red Cert certification. So at the beginning, we have started to focus on ISCC. So as a recap, with buying VESTA eco grades, you have the possibility to significantly reduce the CO2 footprint of your products. So combining VESTA NAD IPDI eco with a CO2 reduced polyol gives you the possibility to produce a CO2 reduced polyurethane, something which we couldn't do until this market launch. It's certified by an independent body. It's cost efficient because it's being done with a mass balance approach. And it offers a great advantage of being a drop-in solution. So no need for reformulations, approving no new products. It's the same VESTA NAD IPDI eco as you're used to, but it has a significant reduction of CO2. So this is my last slide. If you have further questions, please feel free to get in contact with our local experts. And I'm open to any question you might have after this presentation.
Okay, everyone, as we're now moving into Q&A, please make sure to put any questions you have for Georg in the question box on your screen, and we will get started. So our first question is, do you have any samples available? And how might we get one if we would like one?
Okay, so talking about samples, many customers are used to the concept of a bio-based product, which is being produced segregatedly and which needs to be sampled, approved, and the formulation needs to be added. For VESTA NAD IPDI eco, there is no physical difference between the VESTA NAD IPD you are currently buying. So this is also the reason why we are not offering any samples, because you know the product. There is no difference. The difference is the ISCC sustainability declaration, which you will get with each delivery of VESTA NAD IPDI eco. So to answer your question, samples are not available because it just wouldn't make sense to send out any sample. It's the product you're used to.
Okay, great. Our next question. I would be interested in buying VESTA NAD IPDI eco. What are the next steps?
Okay, so the first step is, of course, get in touch with our salespeople, with our local experts. And what we need to do is, as I explained about the sourcing situation, about the renewable acetone, IPDI eco is a concept which needs to be developed together with you. So we should sit together. We should define what is the amount of VESTA-NAT IPDI eco you would like to buy. And we should define the period you would like to receive this material. And then we set up a concept and we have to source the renewable acetone. And we have secured volumes of renewable acetone, but with current pricing and price development for all raw materials, we need to have a close collaboration with purchasing and our customers to define about the pricing of VESTA-NAT IPDI eco in the period you would like to receive that. Probably you would also like to get ISCC certified yourself. So this might take some time. So it's a simple project which Evonik and you as a customer have to do together. And our local experts are there to support this process and to guide you through the necessary steps.
Okay, great. On to our next question. What is the CO2 reduction of VESTA-NAT IDPI eco?
Okay, so I know this is one of the burning questions everybody of our customers has. So I tried to show you in the example, it's there we have a 40% reduction of the VESTA-NAT IPDI eco. And this is an example depending on the feedstock we are using. Currently, we are, first of all, updating our life cycle assessment to 2021 data. And part of this will be, at a later point, CO2 or a life cycle analysis of both products, depending on the renewable acetone being used. And based on that, we can give then a clear number on what is the CO2 reduction, depending on our main source of acetone and our main source of renewable acetone. I also must say that currently, not all of our suppliers do have a life cycle analysis of their acetone. So this is a requirement for us to be able to make a clear number on that. So we are working on it. I cannot give you any numbers right now, but I'm optimistic that we can do so during the year, come up with a clear number on that.
Okay, great. On to our next question. If I buy IDPI eco now, what is the source of renewable acetone that you will use?
So currently we are using biocircular acetone. This is the source we are offering. So we are not offering bio because we think there are too many question marks on the where does it come from. And we are not offering circular renewable acetone because it's just not available. So at this point of time, we are sourcing biocircular acetone.
Okay, great. Our next question. Do I understand correctly that the certificate accompanying any particular batch of VESTA-NAT eco will report also the desired feedstock source selected according to the customer's needs?
First of all, yes, the sustainability declaration of which is accompanying every delivery of VESTA-NAT IPDI eco is going to disclose whether the resource has been biocircular or circular acetone. It will not go into the specific details of what kind of biocircular source has been made. Was it used cooking oil, tall oils, things like that. This is not on the sustainability declaration. if we're discussing with customers, I mean, some customers are asking about excluding certain sources. You can imagine that it gets very complex if we exclude and buy renewable acetone for every customer. So in the end, we will have to come up to a joint decision with our customers. What are the sources of renewable acetone which we would like to take going in the biocircular? But this is a process we are still undergoing with our key accounts, trying to better understand what are their needs, but also there's a question about what renewable acetone is available, and also there's a question about pricing, obviously.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Just as a reminder to the audience, as we're seeing a few questions, you will get a recording of today's webinar as well as the slides and also how to contact Georg in a follow-up email. So please make sure you're looking out for that. Our next question for you, do I as a customer also need to get certified by ISCC to buy?
No, generally speaking, there's no need for you to get certified if you want to buy a certified ISCC product from us. The question is, what is your reason to buy it? And I can distinguish in the market two kinds of customer groups. There's one group of customers who are looking into overall CO2 reduction of their products. In this case, there's no need to get ISCC certified because this is something you do in your own sustainability reporting, and you can keep track on the data you get and no need to do that. The other group of customers, they want to sell to their customers an ISCC certified product. And what they plan to do is combine ISCC, various ISCC chemicals to their own final product. So let's stay with the polyurethanes, get an ISCC certified polyol, combine that with VESTA IPDI eCO, and then you can make an ISCC certified polyurethane and you can sell that to their customers. So if you take a look at what's happening now in the markets, you can see more and more consumer brands using the ISCC logo. So recently we have seen a press release of Henkel going with new detergents which are ISCC plus certified. So what I'm saying is more the ISCC and the concept of mass balance certification is getting more and more popular. And it's in the end, it's the end customer who has to make the final decision in the supermarket. And they have to understand what ISCC means. And if they see an added value in an ISCC plus certified product, they will buy it. And that means you need to get ISCC plus certified. Because as I explained earlier, ISCC secures a complete control of the whole value chain. You can only sell ISCC plus certified products if yourself are certified and if your raw material supply is certified.
Okay, great. Our next question, are further eco products planned or do you plan to stick to IP, IPD, and IPDI?
So it's our target to further enlarge the eco product series. And there are two directions you can think about. First of all, we have our IPDI based cross-linkers for polyurethane coatings, the VESTA liquid derivative cross-linkers, and the VESTA powder cross-linkers. And obviously, the next step would be to have these products certified as eco products based on IPDI. Understandably, the impact of the acetone becomes less and less the further you go down the value chain. So we are ready to certify our IPDI-based crosslinkers products, but we would like to discuss that with our key customers and accounts. How do they feel about it? Is this something they are interested? Is the CO2 reduction, the total, too low to go ahead, or is it something which is of some importance for them? So this is ongoing, this discussion, and we also might then think of crosslinkers products coming with different solvents, with mass balanced ISCC plus solvents, combining our derivatives with the solvent, and so having some products. So this is the one direction we are thinking of. The other direction, obviously, is what can we do about our other isocyanate monomer product, the VESTA H12 MDI, the VESTA TMDI. Here also we are looking into that. It always depends on the raw material availability of ISCC plus certified raw material. That's a prerequisite. Otherwise, we cannot do it. And the other question is, what is the customer response on that? So my personal guess is the next product which we would like to launch would be a VESTA H12 MDI eCO. It's the second step.
Okay, our next question. Are the eco products available globally?
They are available globally, but currently they are only produced in Europe because we have only certified our European production sites so far. It's possible to certify our production sites in the States and in China. It's not a big deal. It can be done within relatively short notice if customer demand is sufficient in these regions, and if we can get the renewable acetone in these regions. So currently, you can source it, you can buy it all over the world, but the country of origin will be Europe.
Okay, great. Georg, that ended up actually being our last question of today. So just a reminder, everyone, we will send you a link to the recording of today's webinar so you can share with us your company. We thank you very much for being here today. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Georg, anything to add?
No, just thanks for listening to this presentation, and I hope to hear from you with any further questions you might have.